Alrighty, welcome back to the Pursuit of Accuracy. I'm Josh. Today we're going to be talking about nothing other than the newest magazine to hit the market. Now, if you shoot a Vudoo, or you know someone who shoots a Vudoo, you have probably seen these kind of mags, the Elite from L3I, the factory Vudoo mags with a gazillion different options for extensions and followers, 15 round metal mags from Vudoos. Today, if you are watching this, these magazines from L3I are now available. This is the L3I, then they're going to call it the Stinger magazine. Just so happens to fit your Vudoo. Works in the Vudoo, and I've been testing this for a couple of weeks, and it has worked really well for me. We're going to get into the details on this, how to adjust it, the adjustments that it has. We're going to run it on the Vudoo so you can see how it works, and I'm just going to tell you from the get-go, to kill the suspense, probably the smoothest Vudoo mag I have ever used, and I have not had any problems at all. So let's get straight into it. So first things first, if you get your hands on one of these, you're going to know this thing is pretty hefty. It is a heavy magazine. It is about 4 or 5 ounces heavier than the Vudoo billet 15 round mag, although form factor wise it's a touch smaller, so you're getting a little bit smaller size. But I really feel like I could throw this at the chickens over there and this would be totally fine. I could drop this in, gravel, whatever. This mag is not going to be an issue. Now, the other thing is you're going to notice it has these oversized buttons here, and when you depress them, you're going to feel that the spring tension isn't very, very hard. Some of these are very stiff. They have a lot of spring pressure. This doesn't, and it doesn't seem to negatively impact this at all. I don't think it's a bad thing. It actually makes this really easy to load. Now, the other important thing, this is a staggered kind of feeding angle like you would see in the Rimex, something that is going to help reduce the all dreaded rim lock on Vudoos. But let's load this up, and you're going to see just how easy it is. Now you can press down on these, you can even press it down and go way down and load 3 or 4 at a time. I do that. You can just kind of pop it back up and make sure everything is good. But it is soft enough of a spring to where it is very easy to just what I do, call top loading it. And that's how I prefer to load them, especially when the spring pressure is not crazy high. That just, to me, makes sure that all these bullets go in exactly how they're supposed to. Now, it's unnecessary. I've done it, every way you can on this mag and not had any issues. And once you get it set up, you're going to be pretty much good to go. So there's 15 rounds in this guy, and let me show you the adjustments. So there you go. You have a large center screw now that is going to raise and lower latch, and then these 2 screws here, and what they do is control how much this sticks out. You can see the top is sticking out a little bit more, but that's going to reduce the walk in here. So how I did this was I loosened this and set the height to where my height was good in my rifle, and then I would back this off a 1/4 turn and bring these out until it became solid in the rifle to where there was no front to back movement. And let me show you what that looks like. All right, we're not going to cut anything here. I don't want you guys to feel like there's any funny business, but again, I set this so if you can see this, it has just the slightest amount of up and down movement, and front to back is basically eliminated. Now, you just take this in and out and adjust on this until you're happy with that. But we're going to go ahead and run this, and just because I have been catching a little bit of hate from a couple of commenters, we are going to do the straw trick. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this rifle is a Krieger barreled Vudoo. It has a cold bore, especially with Ely. Now, I did a bunch of testing and came up with some solutions, and one of them was to just blow down the bore. And if you've ever seen this rifle on the channel, every time I've ever pulled it out and shot it cold bore, which I do all the time on video, you will notice the first round is significantly louder. That's because the muzzle velocity has jumped up considerably, and there is a crazy hornet type thing flying around me now. But all we're going to do is blow down the barrel, and I think you will see that that is going to eliminate that. Nothing crazy. One breath down the barrel to appease the haters. And it's windy. Well, we're just going to shoot at 50 yards here, just so you see that this runs. So there's really no difference in velocity or noise. I mean, it's pretty much all the same. Had I done this without the straw, it definitely would have been louder. Ooh, you guys couldn't see it, but I just missed to the right. There we go. Let's just run through the rest of these. Definitely time to paint my KYL. And I've been telling it, this thing is butter smooth. And that is it. All right, so I backed the camera up so you guys can see everything, but we're gonna continue to talk about this mag. Now, the follower on here, the guys at L3I have told me that the follower is not 3D printed. There is no 3D printed parts in here, and it is actually some sort of impregnated polymer that has some sort of lubrication impregnated into it. Now, I don't know who they're paying at L3I to impregnate the followers, but hey, that is your deal. You have to explain that to your family. I'm just happy they did it, and if you get your hands on it, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. The follower kind of almost like seems like it's wet somehow. It's not wet, but it seems like it has lubricity to it. So that should help promote any sticking on there. Another important part for magazines is, you know, the billet stuff. When you're talking 3D printed or something that's cast versus billet, what you're getting is a lot more smoothness on the internals, which is going to basically negate the need for cleaning. And I've gotten this before on the CZ mags. When you have billet parts, things that are highly finished, highly machined very well, there's not places for things to accumulate. All right, so we're gonna back down on magnification. Had a chicken interrupt us. Here we go. Gotta wait for it to stop swinging. Super smooth, like I said, drops away nice and clean. So over the last couple weeks, like I said, I've been testing this. I haven't had any single issues, and L3I did send me this as kind of a production sample. Like I said, they're available. I really think if you're looking for a magazine, the end all be all for your Vudoo, and you've struggled with the other options, this is definitely worth taking a look at. Now, the last thing I'm talking about is price point, because it's an all billet magazine, and you can tell how much material, time, and effort has went into this. And I've been talking to these guys about this magazine for over a year. So they have put in a lot of time, and the price reflects that. This is going to be around $150. And you know, is that kind of crazy high for a 22 mag? Yeah, but that's what the billet mag options are going to run for this kind of magazine. And if you want one magazine where you just have to run this, and maybe you run one of the other ones as a secondary, and you never have to worry about it, then it's going to be probably worth the money. I will probably buy one of these. Like I said, they sent me this as a production sample. Nothing is changing functionally. I think they said the engraving on the side, the laser engraving, they were going to run a little bit lighter. I may try and convince them to put my logo on the one that I buy. But yeah, I'm going to buy one more just to have a second one, because this one has worked so well for me. But I appreciate you guys watching. This is probably the most highly anticipated magazine review that I've ever done. I think most guys have given up on seeing a billet magazine for the Vudoo. And now that I have one and this thing works, I don't think you can go wrong. If you've got the money to burn and the other mag options aren't working for you, highly suggest this. Appreciate the guys at L3I for submitting this to review. Now that can be a double-edged sword, because I don't promise them a good review. If I got this thing and it sucked for $150, I would definitely tell you guys that this sucked. If I had any issues, you guys would know about that on this review. I would have duplicated them on video, and they knew that going into this. So they ponied up and sent this knowing that there was no guarantee. Because honestly, on YouTube, bad reviews go as far as good reviews. I get no kickbacks from anything I do on the channel. So, you know, if this thing sucked and it was 150 bucks, I'd probably get more views ripping them a new one. But again, it's been good for me. And again, it's a sample size of one, but this wasn't cherry picked. You know, we talked about it. They just sent me one of their samples untested, and it showed up, and here it is. So I appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next one.